Boom, 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 boom. Buckwild energy on a Wednesday evening, which means you are tuned into hashtag Kwese Sports. It's the midweek hump, and we are so on the run in for the weekend. Now, sit back and relax as, relax as we have a very packed show for you tonight. But first, Kandai, great to have you in studio and back on the hashtag couch.
I gotta match that energy that you serve.
You need Congo fire. That's all you
Congo
need,
fire. It's
baby.
been so good to be back. For some reason, my chair is warm. I don't know who was sitting in it. I don't like it. But yeah, remember that you can join us on all of these social media platforms. We would love to hear from you. You can catch us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Share all of those pictures. Use the hashtag Kwese.sports. And of course, we have that awesome website at Kwese.com.
Okay.
Now, Arthur, do you know?
I was about to say, like, while everyone's trying to get ready for, the show that's clearly on the way, and all your comments that are going to be on social media because it's a jam-packed show, you looked, wow, beautiful. Everything great.
I've been away for so long, so when I came back, I said I have to just hit it with the boom. Helen Azrat Designs on Instagram, hit her up, and she's gonna make you something gorgeous like this. Ooh. I feel like I need to shimmy afterwards so everyone can see the feathers at the end of the show. But we'll keep that for later.
All right, well, you know that Daddy Bonakawa definitely needs a fashion makeover, so I'll definitely be hitting you up on that. Well, with formalities out of the way, it's time to introduce to you our guests. If you're a fan of superheroes like Black Panther, then this conversation is just for you. Tonight we get to talk Shadow. What or who is that? Is that why you may ask? Well, it's a new series on Netflix that launches this Friday on the 8th of March across the African continent. It's a warm hashtag welcome to Gareth Crocker, director of Shadow and co-creator Nick Coleman. Hello, gents.
How's it?
Welcome, great to have you. Where are the plyometrics? I'm expecting something to happen, but anyway, we are so happy to have you guys on the show. And a few days before we jump onto the massive launch, that's on Friday, Gareth.
Yeah, it's launching to 190 countries, so no pressure, nothing to worry about.
Big pressure.
Big pressure, yeah. And obviously it's Netflix, that's an enormous deal for us. So, yeah, we're super excited, man. We can't wait.
Wow. Nick, you're part of this project as well. Just what's your thoughts on everything?
Just very excited to see how it's received by the public and to see what everyone thinks about it. Took a bit of a chance to create it, so yeah. Excited.
Wow, storytelling in Africa. And I know a lot of people on the continent are just catching on this news tonight. How do you even begin to tell the African story? What are the elements that make the African story, Gareth?
Well, I think what we tried to do, it's so interesting because, we've tried to create an international show that can travel. So, but by the same token, you don't want to make a show that's too international that excludes, obviously the continent. So we've tried to blend the two together. So it's very much set in Africa, but it's universal storylines. You have lots of empathy for the characters. Doesn't matter if you're sitting in Poland or America, you get the kind of story. And I think it's important that we don't always just make the very local kind of show. So Shadow, hopefully, is something that everyone can be proud of. People will get the local stuff. They'll get a buzz out of that, but it travels. And hopefully people in the UK and America are going to watch and love the show, and that's what we try to create.
All right, well, let's take a look at the official trailer to Shadow and see what the series is all about.
Shadow has a mercenary business.
No, I can't complain.
So the task will shut down and then you became a detective.
We'd arrest guys, bring them in, do the paperwork, and then watch them go free.
So now you're like a private detective?
I'm like someone who fixes things.
Hey, just take it easy. You think I don't know what you're doing out there?
Well, at least I'm doing something.
He's helping people. He's playing God. And sooner or later, he's going to fall from his tower.
Zula told me about the lightning strike. What does it feel like?
Like a flat line, like everything's the same.
Can you feel this?
Mm-hmm.
And this?
Feels the same.
You don't feel any pain.
What kind of trouble?
I knew he was gonna kill me.
You need to find her. Bring her home.
Where is she?
You can't go around punching your way through the city, Shadow.
You said it feels like you're drowning.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way.
I'm gonna count to 5. Like in the movies.
money, I'll double whatever they pay.
I think I'll do this once for free.
Shadow. Hey, wow, how did the concept come about?
Yeah, so we had made shows in the past, and when we came to a new show, we were thinking, well, what could we make that could really strike a chord with the country and with the continent especially? I think the biggest thing is, there's a great sense of injustice, not just generally in our personal lives and all the challenges we face, but I think, politically in terms of crime and so on, there's a lot of frustration out of there.
Yeah.
So we wanted to create this character who's kind of not afraid, he's not shy, and he's willing to take it to the man,
Yeah.
and to defend those who can't necessarily protect themselves. So it's really about this aspirational character. He's a moral beacon, he's a great guy. Doesn't care too much about the law, though.
There's always those situations where you feel like you just want to do something, you just want to act, but you can't. There's too many things, but Shadow can. He can do that for you.
Wow. Yeah.
And we wanted to create that character.
So he's like an avatar. If you imagine it's a game,
Yeah.
you can't really deal with this, but Shadow can.
Yeah.
So it's wish fulfillment. It's a bit of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got everything. He's got the looks. He's got the charisma. He's fantastic.
He's fantastic. I love it. Now, Gareth, you wrote this, and you're an international best-selling author, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
Just tell me the thought process when you're writing something like this. What's the first step? What do you do first?
Yes, I think what you want to do is I work very much with emotion. So, as opposed to, let's say, a Michael Bay film, Transformers, where everything's exploding, we don't have those sort of budgets to work with. So what we do have to work with, hopefully some great acting, some very clever people like Nick who can do wonderful special effects and so on. But what we really do is try to build an emotion around a story. So I'll take an emotion, build a story around that, and then put all the bells and whistles, as I say, all the fun stuff, the jumping off buildings and that. But it's all pointless if it's just noise. So for me, it's really about connecting to the characters, connecting to the kind of plot and the journey that they're going through, then making it look really fantastic. So that's kind of our approach.
All right, nice. It sounds very well said and very well presented. Remember, at home, hashtag Chris Says Sports. Get in touch with us on all our social media platforms. What was the emotion around Shadow? You've spoken about that's what you really want, the viewer to fall in love with. But what was the emotion around the concept of Shadow?
Yeah, so I think without giving away too much in the show, and I want to talk about it, but I can't.
Talk about it!
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, huge spoiler. So that's kind of the problem. He's on this journey, and he doesn't even quite understand what this journey is. And he discovers that the journey that he was on is different and it's bigger. And at that point, like midway, towards the end of the series, things change and they ramp up, and I think the emotions get crazy. And I hope people watch the whole series, because even if you're not entirely sure about the first couple of episodes, maybe it's not your cup of tea. I think certainly as it progresses, it just gets more and more intense. And I don't know how Nick feels, but I certainly love how episodes 7 and 8 kind of culminates in the emotion. I mean, it's hard to watch it and not, feel the kind of goosebumps in your arms. So we're really excited. We really are.
Wow.
Now, Nick, I mean, you've got great leads, Amanda DuPont, Patton Stadler, big stars. I mean, Amanda DuPont's got a big social media following. Are these the two actors that you guys saw for this production out the gate, or do they have to sort of go through a lot
We obviously did a lot of casting for the
Okay.
show, but yeah, in terms of the casting, they just stuck out. Their passion, their drive, what they wanted to give to the show. You could just see it. It came through, and they, like Palance especially in his audition, just taking a chance, committing to a project that, are pretty unknown. We're an independent production. We completed this thing completely without any broadcasters or anything like that, and sold it afterwards. So it was a big chance for them, and you could just see his passion and his commitment to what we wanted to create. And he was on board with our vision as well.
It was so intense being in the room with Palance. He's such an intense guy, and he takes his art so seriously that I felt like if we didn't give him the role, he would hurt us. Wow. So I felt kind of intimidated.
Wow.
And also those muscles as
Those
well.
muscles.
Yeah.
He's got the guns. No,
He
but,
definitely has the guts.
And Amanda too,
Yeah.
she's just so savvy, and she's such a great actress,
she has such elegance and such poise, and she's so beautifully spoken. She just ticks all those boxes, So,
Of course.
and she has, as she says herself, she has such hustle. There's such hustle about Amanda. She knows how to work the room. She's just a very, very smart lady. I mean, we'd be on set. We think we're pretty smart, We know what we do. And she'd go, Gareth, you've forgotten this. Nick, you've forgotten that. Your shoes untied. Just very savvy and very observant. So it's been a pleasure working with them both, yeah.
Wow, I mean, casting for the roles must have been fun. Must have seen some interesting characters as well that came through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were shame. It's kind of sad as well, because these guys come through and they believe in what you're doing. It's fantastic. And you've got such a nice rapport with them, but you know they're not right for the role. And it's so hard to kind of let them down. So there were interesting characters, but I found it quite a tragic process in some respects. And then there were some funny moments. There was one guy who came through and he was saying, well, you know, you can't understand why he doesn't get the lead role. He goes up against the likes of Palance and so on. You can just see why he doesn't, and you can't say these things to the actor. So it's tricky territory. But
Nick looks like he wants to. He's got a best smile.
Now, Nick, you know, Gareth mentioned earlier about local productions and how, you know, you want to keep it sort of South African but really open. So what's the biggest difference with Shadow and other local productions?
I think, well, the first difference is we're an independent production, so a very small crew, move quite nimble, so we try to shoot in a lot of different locations that wouldn't be accessible to big crews and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that the standard approach to making television in South Africa certainly is you throw quite a lot of people at it, and you throw a short amount of time at it, and then you roll post-production very quickly. So what we've done is we've had quite a lot of cast, quite a few member of the crew, essentially, but then we have longer time, so we can finesse it in post-production. So we can sit and play with the edit and think, well, let's go shoot this other shot, let's go get the actor in for another 3 lines. You really have a chance to kind of put your best foot forward, and I think a lot of productions in South Africa don't have that luxury. It's just like there's a deadline, and you know, May, it's got to be out, you know, come what may, get that? So you don't have that luxury, and I think that's what we're trying to change, put more quality into the production, and it forces us to multitask on set. As director,
we could also take the story and do whatever we wanted with it because there was no one dictating what we wanted to do. You know, it was ours to create, which I think was different.
So what was that time from casting to post-production and to having it completely ready? What was that time?
It's probably about 6 months in the pre-production phase with the writing and breaking the story and getting a lot of the stuff ready. Probably about 6 months of filming, Nick? About 6 months.
Yeah, it was about 6 or 7 months of filming.
And then he took way too long with post-production.
Dragged a bit of ass in the post-production.
Fred Warmer-runs, they need to be, they took way too long.
We took a lot of time with the post-production, but I think it shows. Hopefully people notice it in the final product. I think it helped a lot.
I mean, just off air, you were speaking about, you know, bits and pieces of the whole series that, you know, is not given away in the trailer. Please, for the die-hard Crucified fans out there that are also superhero fans, can you not give us a little insight on something we might look forward to?
Sure, okay, without giving spoilers, you know, there's a lot of stuff in the sky that happens. There's some base jumping that happens. There's some iconic South African places that you won't expect people to be jumping off. So there's a lot of that. There's people jumping into moving vehicles. There's a lot of gunfire, a lot of violence. We don't condone the violence, guys. This is fantasy. We're not saying the law into your own hands. This is entertainment. You know. But there's a lot of cool stuff happening, I think,
Well, the series was shot on various locations and vast locations. Can you name a few that some fans might recognize when the series eventually kicks off on Friday?
What do you think, Nick? I mean, just it's such a variety. So lots of what's great is that what's the name of Itemba? Hey, Itemba.
Yeah,
Itemba Properties. Yeah, we'd love to give them a bit of a punt because they were so kind to us. They own a number of buildings in Joburg and they've renovated them and they've turned them into lovely living spaces. So they allowed us access into these buildings, and the Shadow character lives in one of those buildings. So people are going to be sitting in their lounge watching. They're going, hold on, I recognise that building. And Shadow lives in that building, which is really cool. So a lot of inner city buildings, rooftops, basements. The Soweto Cooling Towers, we did some insane stuff over there. I mean, just underground stuff on the street, coffee shops, bars.
Proper South African production, African production as well.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that's the difference. Whereas a lot of the local shows, unfortunately, are limited to sets and you get so bored seeing the same sets. We wanted to show the world Africa. We wanted to show South Africa like it's not really been seen before on television. I mean, Maboneng plays a really big part as well. So, and also we're not showing necessarily all the bad parts of South Africa. I mean, it's a beautiful place. So we're trying to showcase.
We wanted to make it look good. You know, there's a lot of beauty. It's even in the inner city, you know, Maboneng and that kind of thing. We wanted to showcase it.
Now, obviously, you know, you said, Nick, you're waiting to see how everyone sort of reacts to it. But at which point did you guys know that you had something here? Was it after, like, everything had been written and you had it on your lap? Or was it when the actors had come in? At which point were you like, oh, my gosh, we have something here? When was that?
Well, I think we were talking about...
Oh, not yet.
No. Well, there's always doubts. You always worry. No, we were talking about this prior to coming on set. And I think, you know, there's moments where there's a great phrase that says you can't trap lightning in a bottle. So there's moments on set when you're watching an actor do something, and we're behind the camera watching, we're trying to give direction, so on, and it just hits you, and you get that rush of goosebumps down your arm, and it just feels so real. And that's without any of the special effects, without any of the grading and all that. And it's in the moment, it's real. And I started to get a sense quite early on that we wanted something pretty good.
Yeah.
We're going to be trolled to death. We're very realistic about this. We know that there's lots of people who think, oh, it's not this, it's not that, whatever. But we do think that a lot of people are going to like it, and hopefully they'll give us some credit for trying something new. As well,
And when did you know, Nick? When you done your post-production and you were like, yes, finally.
I think I've watched the show so many times, I'm still not sure.
Well, we'll let you know. We're going to watch it soon. So we'll let you know.
I mean, does Shadow have the potential to run for multiple seasons?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Look, I mean, it's not necessarily up to us, I think out of respect for Netflix, they want to see how it does. They're a business, But I would really hope so. It's a sort of thing. When I finished watching The 8 as an entity and you walk away, you miss those characters, man. As I sit here now, I miss my friends, man. We work with these guys, and not just the actors, the characters that they become.
Yes.
When Palance puts on he's got this great jacket that he wears, and he puts on the jacket, he puts the gun in. Feel the emotion, we miss it, and we've got a great relationship with actors, and I have to give them huge credit. They played an enormous role in the show. They would give us advice on how I should write the show better, what I should say.
Wow.
It was such
a very
collaboration.
collaborative experience, the whole thing.
Yeah, this wasn't one or two or three guys, just dictating. It was very much a collaboration. And I think the sign of how well we collaborated is that very fancy actors like Amanda and Palance would help us pick up something and move it around. Hey, why don't you just move the hazer over there? Palance, no problem, move the hazer. Now, you don't see that on sets.
Wow.
We had like a real family relationship going, so it was
family.
Yeah,
Speaking of relationships and collaborations, you guys have worked together before. Did this make this project easier, or were you like, oh, here we go again?
No, absolutely. I mean, we're Motion Story is the name of our production company, our studio, and there's kind of 4 owners of the studio. We've been together for a number of years, so we've worked together on several projects. And what's great is we're all very, I think, close friends, but not in the traditional sense. I think we're a creative friendship team, and I think there's creative tension between us.
Yeah.
So we're not afraid to have it out with each other.
Yes.
So, well, I don't agree with you on that, but we have the freedom and the respect to do that.
But it is great when people have different opinions as well, because that's what brings out the best stuff. When you disagree, and then when you can agree on the final outcome, it's always the best.
Lovely. Well, stunt scenes and special effects, who was responsible for action sequences and death-defying stunts? Can you defy death, Nick? Since you were the one who was responsible.
I personally can't. There's a lot of trickery and camera work in there. I think in terms of the stunts, what was great is the actors did a lot themselves. We didn't have budgets for specific stunt men or stunt women to come on board. So Amanda and Palance did all of the stunts themselves. There were a couple of injuries along the line, but nothing major.
Like a broken finger or like a broken collarbone? How little?
Palance did have to have some stitches the one day. But yeah, they performed all their own stunts, and then there's a lot of camera work and post-production that goes in afterwards to try and make it all look good.
Look, I have to interrupt Nick. He can't actually say this about himself. He's done a tremendous job. If you watch, I mean, the things that you're going to see, I think, certain sequences are absolutely comparable with Hollywood, and in some cases better. The scene with lions that'll blow your face off.
Yes,
He's
can't wait.
He's very hard on himself, but he's a very talented guy.
Wow.
Wonderful, wonderful behind-the-scenes discussions with Gareth and Nick. More with our guests coming up. See you just now.
I've done a few things that I'm not proud of. After a while, things got really desperate.
I need to make sure that you're safe.
You don't know the first thing about my life. Please come.
I just feel like I need to be a part of that trailer as well. Something in that story is missing. But anyway, time is flying, and our guest tonight can't wait for this Friday. It's a massive day. How are the butterflies in the tummy going, gents?
Nick, how are you feeling?
A little nervous. I think there's so many moving parts to putting a TV show together. You just hope it all kind of ends up out there.
Wow.
Are you doing like a viewing party or like where you guys
There is going to be a party on
Are we invited to this party? That's what that's actually where the conversation
Yes.
no pressure on the spot, yeah.
Yeah, if you say it on live TV, then you have to. Yeah, you have to. Okay, cool.
I think we're all super excited, but I think the nature of live premieres is just fraught with issues, and we're terrified that something's going to go wrong, that we're going to have to go up on stage and entertain everyone. But hopefully it's going to go well.
Gareth's got some good dance moves.
Got some dance moves, yeah. You know.
Okay, all right.
Lots of jinx.
Yeah,
Good.
so, but we're excited. I think obviously there's some anxiety around, you can't please all the people all the time, so we're definitely going to have our critics in that. I think it's just about trying to push that to one side and focus on the positiveness. But yeah, we're hopeful, That's something new. Something
All
different.
right. Netflix, guys, that's the big one. Let's talk about that. Why not another distributor?
Oh, well, Netflix is the kind of jewel in the crown, really. So when we started on this journey, we didn't have. I think that was the fun part of this. So crazy, but fun. Produced everything ourselves. We had a financier put everything together for us. So we were very fortunate. And as Nick said, we had the freedom to make decisions, which is great. The terrifying thing is because we weren't commissioned, there was no guarantee that anyone on planet Earth was going to buy it. Yeah. So obviously, put your feelers out, you start sending it out, and all along we were hoping that Netflix would be interested.
Yeah.
And fortunately, they were, and that's great because their Maverick style brand kind of suits what we're trying to do. They're disrupting the industry. We're trying to disrupt the industry in our own little way. It's been a great kind of marriage, and long may it continue.
I think also, like on Gareth's point, the way the story is told, it's based in Africa, it's African, but with more of an international flavour. And I think it fits Netflix's kind of content and the way that they want to take this stuff. Local content, but take it to the world as well.
All right, well.
Tell us, because he just said, Netflix. Was it a phone call? Was it an email? Were you guys all sitting together? Did one person get the call? And
Stalking. I flew to France, stalked them for a bit there, flew around, and that's not entirely not true. I think Netflix have to protect the way that they receive content. Otherwise, everyone who's made a film in their garage is going to be submitting
send an email.
Yeah, exactly. So there's distribution channels you can go through and so on. So we had to do a bit of that, and then we got to the right people. Yeah, it's kind of like you got to get into the club a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a bit of that, and it's rightfully so. Otherwise, they'd just be completely inundated. So a little bit of a struggle, but it was great. We met some wonderful people on Netflix, and they're really keen about Africa. They're really keen about growing the local industry. They provide such a welcome kind of competition in the marketplace. So benefits audiences, benefits producers. So it's great to be a part of that. And at the front of it, because we're Africa's first acquired original TV series.
Wow.
Cool.
Africa's first original acquired TV series.
Yeah.
That must give you a great sense of pride.
Yeah, it is.
Definitely a great sense of pride. I mean, will Netflix be streaming, Shadow across its global territories or just in South Africa?
It will be global across all 190 countries.
Yeah.
That is big.
Like Nick just came to life, right?
Yeah. Very exciting.
190 countries.
Yeah, a little terrifying.
Okay, all right. I mean, is Netflix a game changer in the broadcast market for films and, of course, series?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think streaming platforms in particular and Netflix are at the front of it because Africa, as internet penetration increases, there's just so many more potential customers out there because it's all subscription based. If you have the internet, you can start watching, and it's going to completely revolutionize how people watch television. So it's a massive deal.
All right.
Now, being associated with Netflix and, obviously you guys having Shadow out on Netflix, is it going to change the way you guys do things, or would you sort of remain in the style of work that you guys have been doing?
I don't know. It's hard to say at this stage. I think obviously Netflix want to see how the show goes. We're looking at a different show at the moment while we wait to find out if we're going to proceed with the season 2.
Okay.
So, but I think what's great is it's taught us so much about the industry, and I think we've got lots of cool ideas for the future. So we have to be flexible in this game. You can't be very kind of rigid in your thinking. Yeah.
Oh, being flexible is obviously the operative word there. Oh, guys, I can't wait for Friday. I can't wait for the fact that we're going to see some great celebrities on the show. And, of course, Kandai, if myself and you do go through the auditions as it was promised and agreed upon, we might just find ourselves...
They said it off air, so now there's no receipts and there's no evidence. We should have caught them saying it on air.
Guys, we're always casting, I promise you. So I go to the local shop.
We're going to get fired from here. We're busy auditioning for other jobs.
Busy auditioning. Let's just remember that. Wow. With that... Well, what are your future projects, guys, before we even end the show? Because I can't believe the clock is already going mad. Can someone just stop the clock? But anyway, what are your future projects, guys?
So we like to kind of the first of what we're doing. So Shadow's kind of a first. And now, you know, along a similar vein, we're doing the first kind of supernatural horror series. So it's called Dead Places.
Okay.
And not
I'm
to
out.
give too much
So
away.
I'm definitely not going to watch that.
Yeah.
I'm letting
Horror.
you
No,
guys
it's,
know
when
now.
I say horror, horror is maybe the wrong word. It's a supernatural thriller.
Okay.
Yeah,
With lots
thriller.
of,
I think more thriller.
Yeah, it's comedy. There's drama aspects to it. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be entertaining.
Exciting. And when can we look forward to that, or you don't have times and dates for that yet?
I'm still busy writing the show,
Yeah.
and then these guys are going to tear it apart and tell me what's wrong with it. We'll get to that whole fight, and then we'll get into production. And then, so, I don't know, a year and a half, about a year and a half.
Okay, cool.
Quite a long journey from start to finish. Yeah.
Yeah, exciting.
Can
well,
die.
we'll watch that one, but more exciting. Shadow's coming up on Friday on Netflix. So yeah, you have nothing to do on Friday night. Even if you have something to do, I think cancel that. And yeah, Friday at home is the thing to do. Yeah.
Yes, and of course, guys, you can watch it on Netflix. And with that, another Power show has come to an end. Gareth and Nick, it's been fantastic. Fascinating, great, all the possible words that I could use to have you guys on the show, and all the best with your project. And of course, congratulations with the launch of Shadow. And I definitely know that the fans across Africa can get in touch with you on your social media platforms. Kandai, can't believe I'm saying goodbye now, but you know how we roll. When am I seeing you
I'll be back
again?
next week, so calm down.
Okay.
Not a
All right.
crazy goodbye, yeah.
All right, Africa. Well, there you have it from myself and the rest of the team. And you know, as the saying goes, à toute l'Afrique qui nous suit. À la prochaine. Goodbye.